May 1st, 2025. We have the first day of the Rat Rod Bikes annual Rat Rod Bike Build Off. This is year 20. I haven't completed one of these for probably 4 years, maybe 5. So I'm starting this one. Hope to have it done in a month. It's a BF Goodrich Challenger Sear Space Liner. It says Crusader Deluxe on the chain guard, so you pick. I bought it from a guy down in southern Ohio. I think I paid 20 bucks for it or something. But my plan is to do kind of an off-road clunker style build with it. So right now it's pretty much just tear it apart and see what we've got. I probably could have done a better job of organizing the tools before I started this too. You know, what are you gonna do? Okay, that's loose. Interesting. May not be able to get the handlebars out of here. There we go. Now, this cool little horn, it actually doesn't pop open very well. But all the innards are in there. I don't know it's going to stay on there. I have a cabinet full of little trinkets like that for bikes, radios, horns, all kinds of stuff. I actually want to kind of want to see what it's going to look like with my wheels on there, but I think I'll tear it apart a little bit further before I do that. Now, I don't know how well these videos are going to go for me doing much anything on them. It's going to be a little strange filming all this and taking pictures at the same time. Well, let's see what I can do. I'm actually not even going to use this fork for this build. Now, when I first bought this bike, I had this crazy color combination popped in my head of like a root beer brown metallic and turquoise. And I had to look that one up to see if they even looked good together. Saw a picture of a rug that was brown and turquoise but didn't look too bad. And I ordered some vinyl wrap. Evil Bay there, and I figured that'd be cheaper than buying paint. And I put the 2 colors, one on the frame, one on the tank, to see what I thought they'd look like, and they did not look good together. Then I came up with a different paint scheme that I think will look much better, and it matches with kind of what I'm doing. Or at least kind of what I think I'm going to do. The good thing about these build-offs, if you've never done one or never followed along on one, is you can do one frame swap, and if something goes awry with what you're working on, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. I think I've done it before. But if you've never seen one of these build-offs or been involved with one of them, the ratrodbikes.com forum, they also have a Facebook page. The builds take place on the forum, and you have to sign up and be a member, but that is free. You don't have to pay anything for it. And you don't even have to build a bike if you don't intend to or have any interest in doing something like that. But I think everybody that's physically able to do so should probably ride a bike. It's one of the best forms of exercise outside of walking. So just go to ratrodbikes.com and check it out. See what you think. Maybe you become a fan of these old bicycles. They actually have 2 build classes for these. Class 1 is what I'm doing with this. And it's kind of standard. Everything bolts on. You can do a little bit of bodywork stuff. You know, you cut a brake bridge off or fender bridge. Use it to, or move it, weld it back on, but nothing major. And then there's class 2, which is pretty much anything goes. Well, not pretty much, it is anything goes. A lot of guys that do that build some really cool stuff. There's some women in the group that have built some pretty amazing stuff too. Miss Funk over there, she's built some cool stuff in my history with this group. So, you know, it's not just a bunch of middle-aged men playing with bicycles. They're women, younger people, some teenagers, early 20s kids have been in there. And the dog's outside going crazy barking. I'm going to have to see what she's looking at. She's just barking at the neighbor. Anyway, like I said, head on over to the forum. Take a look around, see what you think. Aside from that, let's watch videos. I don't know that my videos are going to be any good. I don't know how the audio quality is going to be either. Here we are, just going for it, right? This is my first video for the reboot of this channel. I generally only used the channel for like family videos and things like that. You know, nothing public. But I thought, you know, why not? Let's see what happens. So here I am, and here we go. Now shut up and figure out what I'm doing. Now hopefully, well, that's no good. Hopefully, if I drop something in the process of this, somebody will let me know. I don't think I'll hold my breath and wait to see if that happens, but you never know. And that little nubby screwdriver for the win. Oh, Lord. This is rusty, crusty. Built one there. Trusty. But okay. So aside from the seat, this is pretty much, I think, how it's going to look. Minus the forks and handlebars I need to put on there. I'm having a little trouble. But I want to see what these wheels and tires might look like. These are Jalure Sport. I don't know. I've never heard of them, but they're a Mini V knockoff. Kind of like the tread. It's not too aggressive. Alright. I have my music going on in my ear. And I just got hit by a song that I think it's called Live Your Life by a band called Tantric. They were created out of another band called Days of the New. When the frontman for Days of the New decided to fire the band, they decided to get another singer and call themselves Tantric. And they have some pretty good songs. The vocalist has an interesting voice. And at this point in time, he's actually the only original member of Tantric left. It's amazing how you end up with so many bands over so many years that just end up either having one original member or no original members. I've always found that interesting how a band can continue on with no original members. Anyway, here's a little bit of music trivia for you today. I like music, so I just thought, for those of you that are familiar with the Rat Rod Bike Build Offs and the incredible Jake Sensei, he will post videos from some of his favorite bands. And I just realized, with my like for music, that maybe I'll just do a little music trivia in my videos. People might like it, people might not. I don't know. Alright, nothing is cooperating with me here. There we go. Set these up. What I'm going to have to do is go get the other bike that I have to go toward this build so that I can put the forks and handlebars on there. I don't know if I'm actually going to use those parts on the bike in the long run, but they're close to what I want, so it's nice to have the parts to be able to spitball stuff. And no, I don't have tubes to put in these tires. Now these wheels, these are interesting. They're Araya rims, double wall rims. They have stars and they cut out for the rim. This brake hub I put on there. I had originally built these wheels for a different bike. What was that bike for? It was for one of the build offs. I don't remember which one. I never finished it. I never even really started. So use them here. Forgot about it being windy out here, so I don't know how much of that actually went through the speaker. So here's another bike. It's a fork and handlebars I'm going to use temporarily. And there's my dog Shadow. I don't know if you see her. And she's a little shop dog. She don't like to be out here with the noise. She has a place to lay down. She's a good girl. Yeah, that dog saved my life. So I'm going to use these forks and handlebars for a temporary mock-up. I may or may not replace the forks. I haven't decided. With the disc brakes on there, I can try to buy another fork that, I don't know what I'm doing it wrong. Well, I could buy another straight fork that has a disc brake tab on it. Or I could just weld one onto here. Right. It's a very tall frame. I had given this frame to my neighbor, and he put this all together, and he just wanted a bike that he could ride around, do some downhill stuff with. And then he ended up finding a bike on the marketplace that he liked. So he gave this one back to me, which, you know, it's nice of him to do. I asked him if he wanted his wheels, and wasn't too worried about it. So here we have this, and we get to figure out what we're going to do with it and how it's going to go. Yeah, good Lord. Gotta love rust. Put your pliers on the right direction, you won't have that problem, would you? Probably just spray some blaster in there, take care of that. But we're getting it. Hopefully I can figure out how to edit these videos. I tried to put an editing software on my computer, and it wasn't an editing software, it was a bit of a malware. So I had to deal with that. Now I'm just trying to find a decent editing software. That I can use. Just simple edits. You know, maybe cut a scene out here and there. Do some fast forwarding, kind of whatever that's called when the video goes fast when you're watching it. You know what I'm talking about. Look at that. They don't even fit. So, guess what? I'm going to have to buy a new set of forks. but I can put these on here temporarily. See what those look like. Alright, so gonna be a trip to eBay or Amazon or a local bike shop that we had, a friend of mine owned. He unfortunately didn't survive cancer, and shortly after his death, probably about a year or so, I guess, his wife closed the shop down, and she had given me a lot of bikes. People had brought them into the shop for repairs or whatever, and some of them just left them there. And she contacted everybody and asked people who wanted their stuff back. Some of them did, some of them didn't, so whatever they didn't want, she said, take it, get it out of the shop. So we got a lot of stuff that way. I kind of lost a little bit of interest in doing this for a while, but I've still got a decent collection of parts. Another song popped in my ear. It's called My Father's Son by Jake Vaadeland. Vaaland, I believe. I saw him in concert, never heard of him. He opened up for another band, and it's a rockabilly style, and he definitely has a bit of a Hank Williams sounding voice to him. It's very kind of old school. That'd be, if you're into that, you can check that one out too. Maybe I could put links to videos for some of these songs on the description. Alright. What do we think? What do you think, Shadow? You like it? You gonna look at the camera? That doesn't look too bad in my eye. Put a different seat on there. Definitely not using those handlebars. I don't like them. Different ports that actually fit. Might be okay. This tank has a bezel. I have a few little extra parts here for this. Now, unfortunately, the extra parts for the tank aren't in that great a shape. It's here. These old tank bikes of Murray's had a little dashboard. All the Spaceliner style bikes with the tank had some sort of dashboard that I can think of. This one only has for the headlights, and the knob is broke. But fortunately, I used to have another one of these that had a headlight horn knob, and I cast a replica of the headlight knob because it had broken. The battery tray, these are always rusted out. I don't even think I'll ever use that. This comes with something that most of these don't have. A headlight lens with a spider web in it. It's cracked, it's faded and yellow. But we can figure something out. That's a nice piece to have. Now the bezel. Now, the bezel is broke. Unfortunately, the guy I got this from had the main piece, where it says Challenger there on the top, But there's a centerpiece here that when you put the lenses on the inside and they sit back in there, there should be a piece going through the center of the lens. And unfortunately, this one doesn't have it. So the hole in the middle of the lens would be covered. So I am going to have to make a piece out of clay. Probably use pictures of other bezels and see if I can get that filled in. And then I have the joy of figuring out how to chrome plate plastic. I have an idea. I'm pretty sure will work. But that all goes up here. There's some screws in there in the place. It sits there. You can turn your headlights on through the dashboard, which straddles the frame there. Battery pack goes inside the tank. And then the dashboard fits up into here. And you can turn your switch for your headlights. Now, this is going to be an off-road kind of bike.